Welcome back to the floor of the Republican National Convention. It is wrapping up here, but some delegates still remain. One of the most emotional moments in this convention hall this evening was a moment when a woman named Pat Smith spoke. Her son, Sean Smith, was killed in the September 11th, 2012 terrorist attack in Benghazi. And this, of course, has been an ongoing issue that Republicans have cited as a reason, they say, why Hillary Clinton is not fit to be president. Let's listen to a little bit of what Pat Smith had to say.
I blame Hillary Clinton personally for the death of my son. That's personally. In an email to her daughter shortly after the attack, Hillary Clinton blamed it on terrorism. But when I saw Hillary Clinton, she sure is. She sure is. She lied to me and then called me a liar. When I saw Hillary Clinton at Sean's coffin ceremony just days later, she looked me squarely in the eye and told me a video was responsible. Since then, I have repeatedly asked Hillary Clinton to explain to me the real reason why my son is dead. I'm still waiting. This entire campaign comes down to a single question. If Hillary Clinton can't give us the truth, why should we give her the presidency?
Joining me to talk more about this is Hogan Gidley, CBSN political contributor. So, Hogan, that was an emotional moment here in the hall. There was a very palpable feeling. I looked around at that moment when she was speaking. You could see women crying. You could see people shaking their heads, a very palpable reaction. Why is this a continued line of attack for Republicans?
Well, it wasn't ever really properly litigated. We don't feel like it was litigated because for some reason Hillary Clinton made the comment in front of the committee there at Congress and said, what difference at this point does it make? It comes across as callous. It comes across as she didn't take responsibility for any of it. I mean, Americans died in this attack, and what's worse is we didn't do anything to help. We didn't send any of our troops in to help. And from the get-go, as it's the old adage, it's never the lie but the cover-up. They lied about this from the beginning, and then they tried to make it sound as though it was a video, and it was so wonderful to hear Ms. Pat there tell this crowd how she felt and how she felt personally about how Hillary Clinton treated her and lied to her face. Remember, when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama spoke about these dead Americans, there were flag-draped coffins in that hall, in that hangar, and Hillary Clinton said from the podium, we're going to get the people responsible for this video. And then she told Ms. Pat there, we're going to get the people responsible for it, to her face. It's an absolute lie, and it goes to undergird the narrative, as I mentioned before, that Hillary is already untrustworthy. This type of situation where you can tether her untrustworthiness to troops in the field who've died. And remember, this isn't somebody that wasn't known to Hillary. This was her friend, Ambassador Stevens. He's dead now. And so it's shocking that we're not talking about this more, quite frankly. I know Democrats don't want to hear about it. I know the committee, the folks on the committee questioned her in depth. Some people think it's a done deal, and that might be the case from a standpoint of no more congressional inquiries. But from a political standpoint and from an impassioned argument standpoint, she really hasn't stood the political trial for that yet in a lot of the minds of Republicans. And we got to hear some of that tonight. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of Americans, especially Democrats, think this is over and done with. I beg to differ. And if you were in this hall when she was talking, there wasn't anybody saying another word. It was dead silent in here, and they were reacting to every tear she shed, every line she talked about, everything she said about Hillary. They were on top of all of it because they know how important it is that Hillary Clinton has not taken responsibility for that yet, and it's shocking.
one of the things that I want to mention is that shortly after Pat Smith spoke, Hillary Clinton's campaign sent out immediately essentially a rapid response to this, saying that the Select Committee on Benghazi was a taxpayer-funded attack vehicle targeting Hillary Clinton. Despite spending 2 years and more than $7 million of taxpayer money, Republicans still were unable to find any evidence to back up their wild conspiracy theories and accusations against Hillary Clinton. So that is the response from the campaign. Now, from the candidate herself, we actually had our own Charlie Rose of CBS this morning conduct an interview with Hillary Clinton for his PBS program in which she responded to some of these continuing criticisms over Benghazi. Let's take a listen.
No self-discipline, no self-control, no sense of history, no understanding of the limits of the kind of power that any president should impose upon himself. He has shown none of that. Let's return to torture. And you know what? I will order the American military to commit war crimes. What he has laid out is the most dangerous, reckless approach to being president than I think we've ever seen.
The most dangerous man ever to run for president of the United States.
I believe that.
Why then is today in the polls, most recent poll, within 2 or 3 points?
Well,
this is a man you just described in such harsh terms is close to being even with you.
Well, our presidential elections are close, and the campaign is really just starting. But here's what's really happening, I believe. There is a lot of fear in our country. And when Americans are worried, they're looking for answers. He's providing simplistic, easy answers. Let's make America great again, which means basically we'll go back to the way it was, and you out there, whoever you are, you're going to have a better shot. It is a, unfair and wrong-headed view of history.
Are you speaking to these fears and these concerns in a way that there is an alternative that they can clearly see, so they believe and trust you to be on their side?
Well, that's what I intend to do. And I have a very clear sense of what we can do that will actually produce results, not just demagogic rhetoric, but real results.
I mean, this really goes to the core of how some people in significant polls say,
well, I think
they don't trust you.
Well, but
and you have thought about this, and you have begun to speak about this.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Well, tell us.
Well, I mean, it is something that clearly I don't like to hear. Nobody would. And it is at such variance with the way I am perceived when I'm doing a job. Part of it is seeking this job at this time of fear, anxiety, discouragement, rejectionism that is unfortunately part of our political environment right now. I understand people who are asking these questions, and I hope by the time we have this election, it will be clear to voters who they can count on.
She didn't, that actually wasn't a Benghazi-centered excerpt there, but what she did address was this question which you raised about the trustworthiness. She acknowledged there, obviously, this is something that has been an ongoing challenge for her. I wonder how damaging you think the comments from FBI Director James Comey were when he talked about the investigation into how it is that she handled classified information with these email servers.
I mean, I think it's very politically damaging. He did all, I mean, he indicted her with his words and his rhetoric, and politically indicted her, even though there wasn't a legal ramification for it. Obviously, the legal cloud's lifted, but the political cloud is there, and it's thundering and it's lightning squarely on top of Hillary Clinton's campaign. And it should. She absolutely, this is another instance where Hillary Clinton has lied to the American people, and she got caught doing it on multiple occasions, and there were so many lies. I was blown away to watch reporters, even people who are supporting Hillary Clinton, say, yeah, she didn't tell the truth on that. I mean, handling classified information the way she did. And this is the thing. You can't both be the most brilliant, the most prepared, the best person, most capable person to ever run for president, and on the same page be a moron and not know that you have a server in your bathroom, not know that you're using a different email than everybody else, using your she said she never sent emails on her BlackBerry in a foreign country. Not true. In fact, that's where the hacking occurred. He said they could confirm hacks to people she had emailed and gotten emails from, but they couldn't confirm a hack to her email address, but even Comey said, but we have to assume that her information was hacked as well. So it was just lie upon lie upon lie. And that's what's been so fascinating about someone like Donald Trump. Instead of saying, you're loose with the facts, she's misrepresenting the truth, which is the typical political way to call someone a liar, but you would never do that because that would be against all D.C. decorum. Donald Trump says she's a liar. Everyone knows she lied, and she's lying Hillary. And from now on, that's her name. So it's fascinating as to why he's starting to gain ground, pointing out the things that we know about Hillary, because he's doing it with straight talk. And that's what people want, and I think people deserve.
What about her line of attack, saying that Donald Trump is dangerous?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be her line. We saw that. She's been doing that from the beginning. But this is the point of that Benghazi, of the emails. Her whole campaign is Donald Trump doesn't have the judgment and doesn't have the decision-making skills to be president of the temperament, to be part of it. But that stems from making bad decisions to have the bad temperament. So either way, it's decision, judgment, temperament, those types of things. And now from FBI Director Comey saying Hillary Clinton was extremely careless, he basically said she doesn't have the decision-making skills. She makes poor decisions. She had poor judgment in this particular instance. And that's what's so fascinating, is that her main line of attack against Trump is now a line of attack that we're going to use against Hillary. So it's almost a wash. The question is, what does she have next? Because campaigns, it's like the boxer who goes in and has a plan until he gets hit. So that was her plan, to talk about his tone and temperament and judgment. Now he can attack her for the same thing. It's going to be interesting to see what she comes back at him with.
Do you think that the choice of Governor Pence as Trump's running mate helps assuage any concerns that some Republicans might have had about his tone and temperament?
I think so. I think what it did was, vice presidential picks, you want to backfill the holes you have in your own campaign, and he didn't have government experience. He wanted that. It was someone who settled down the establishment, who was a little bit nervous about Trump, still is a little bit nervous, but glad Pence is on the ticket. And also it brought some conservatives who are on the religious right, who aren't necessarily sure about where Trump stands on that stuff. Now he has someone standing next to him on that stage, right beside him on the ticket, who is known to protect life, who is known to protect marriage, and that's what evangelicals wanted to hear. So overall, I think it's a solid B pick. I said that on CBSN when they made the pick. So it doesn't, I'll tell you something else it doesn't do. It doesn't overshadow Trump. Although when you come out in full silhouette, it's almost impossible to do, right? When your name's all over every building and every plane, it's tough to do. But he won't overshadow him, and I think that's important too.